Good morning. We have David McCall here.
Good morning, everyone.
Hello. And we're talking about recycling, right?
Yeah.
This microphone will not stay up. There we go. Yeah, recycling. And you have a new fancy machine up at the transfer station, right?
Well,
Which is a perfect... Oh, is it not new?
It's not at the transfer station. It's a brand new machine. It's not at the transfer station. But, I mean, this is one of the coolest machines
Perfect
ever,
time to
I
have
think.
it, too.
Exactly. So what this machine is, we got a grant from DEQ this last year. And this is something we've been trying to get for a couple years. We got the grant this year. And we purchased, it's called a styrofoam densifier. Now, a styrofoam is, technically it's expanded polystyrene.
Right.
Which is a plastic that can only be made from oil, so it can't be made from natural gas or other corn-based sources and things like this. And styrofoam is actually a brand name. Dow came up with this method of basically blowing air into the polystyrene molecules to get them to expand and then take on these forms. So styrofoam is about 98% air.
Sure. Which makes sense because it's very light.
Right. And that's in its solid form. So imagine what you get around a television set, which actually has one solid piece going to the side and then a couple pieces around the corners.
Right.
But in between that, not only is there air in the molecules itself, but also between the ends, there's huge areas of air.
Right.
So what we can have, polystyrene in its natural form sinks in water. It cannot float. But when you see like buoys and things like that, styrofoam does float because of all the air in it.
Sure.
And then you add that, and capture air with that airy substance, and you get really light material. Imagine this. Take a trailer full of styrofoam, 15, 16 cubic yards. So we're talking a full trailer full of this. It's possible that might only weigh 50 or 60 pounds.
Yeah.
It's so light.
Yeah, it's really light.
So styrofoam
also,
because it's an oil-based and there's no natural components to it, it doesn't break down. It's not biodegradable.
Right.
And one of the issues is because it's just air, it's great for packing materials and keeping materials safe and sound. But it's really difficult to get the economics to work because you're transporting air to a place to actually have it recycled.
Sure.
And it just doesn't make much sense.
Well, and then it takes up all of that space in the landfill
right.
as well.
So generally, it's just thrown away with the garbage, sent off to a landfill. And because it never breaks down, or if it does break down, it needs at least 500 years before it starts breaking down.
Wow.
And then there's a question whether or not they can even press that air out of it when it breaks down. There's an estimate that in closed landfills throughout the world, we're talking landfills that have been closed for 20 or 30 years, up to 30% of the space could be taken up by styrofoam.
Wow. And
this styrofoam is only 1% of the solid waste stream, but it could take up a 30% of landfill space.
Sure.
So what we did, we asked for this DEQ grant, and DEQ helped us out with this. We bought a new, what's called a styrofoam densifier. It's just this machine that takes it crushes it up into pieces like about the size of an egg or a little smaller. Then it puts it through a screw, and it presses the air out of it and densifies it into what comes out as like a log or a block, it's continuous feed.
Right.
And remember what I said, that trailer full of styrofoam, which may be 15, 16 cubic yards, weighs 50 pounds or so. Well, that log that comes out is about 14 by 14 inches. And that whole trailer full of styrofoam will get to a point that's about 3 feet long.
That's amazing. I bet that was because you guys just did that, right? I'm reading your article here.
We just got the machine around Thanksgiving time is when it actually arrived, and so we bought not only that machine, but we also bought a trailer to mount it on, and we bought a generator from the government surplus.
Yeah.
Because what we found is we need 3 feeds of electricity in a lot of places where we don't want to bring the styrofoam into one central place. We want to set up collection places along the northwest coast where they'll collect it there. And so we'll bring the machine to the stack of styrofoam
Right.
and densify it there. So all we've got to haul back is that densified log. Bring the solution to the problem
Right.
rather than the problem to the
Well, like you
solution.
said, it's a lot. You're basically transporting air if you're shipping that styrofoam around to be densified.
Right.
You're just shipping air
Yeah.
and paying for transportation of air. Why not transport the machine?
Correct.
That's cool.
And so that was the concept. And what we found was a
Very
lot of the
smart.
sites that we had for collecting don't have three-phase electricity. So we went out and got a generator so we could be completely mobile. We can go to the site. It doesn't
That is
matter if
really
they don't
cool.
even have electricity.
Yeah.
We can still set up there. And we can take this, like I said, or, a full drop box of styrofoam, 30 or 40 cubic yards of it. So imagine the big drop box, the garbage container
Yeah.
you see at different places.
Yep.
We can go through, if that's full of styrofoam, we can densify all that within 2 hours.
That's cool.
And it's just amazing to see this machine. It takes
Oh,
it
I'll
in.
bet. I kinda
We
wanna
can
go see it.
Yeah, we can barely keep up feeding it sometimes.
That kind of
breaks
like
it up and
factory
crushes it.
machinery type of thing is very fascinating to me.
Yeah.
That sounds like a really fun time to go watch it.
Oh,
I know
it
that
is-
sounds so dorky.
It is really cool to watch. And part of the problem is you have different kinds of styrofoam. You
Sure.
have harder and softer and
Yep.
lighter. Any adjustments we make on the machine, it probably takes half an hour before we see the result because we put it in there and it crushes it. And then it actually has to come out of the chute.
Right.
But it takes so much to actually go through the crushing and pushing out the chute process that it's just amazing, how much material. A lot of times, when we're working on it, I think, oh, it must have stopped.
Oh.
Well, no, it didn't stop.
It's
It just
still
doesn't
working.
have enough to push it
Yeah.
out 2
Yeah.
inches.
Yeah.
Because it pushes it out every 2 or 3 inches going through. We've got this incredible machine. It's completely mobile.
Perfect timing because there's lots of styrofoam, I'm sure, floating around for
Right.
after Christmas.
Yeah, and that's our
packages.
planning. So we've already densified, in our trial process, we've gone through about 120 cubic yards of styrofoam already. So imagine the tractor trailers, the semi-trucks.
Yep.
That's probably about 150, 160 cubic yards. We've done almost a whole one of them.
Wow.
And we have one row on a pallet.
Cool.
That's what we reduced it to. So now what we're looking at, Christmas
That's really
time.
cool.
Christmas time, we live in the new electronic age.
Yep.
Christmas time is a great time to get your new iPhone, pad,
Yeah, whatever.
top, whatever,
Yep.
your laptops, your computers, your televisions,
Yep.
your new, I guess we don't
We
have
just bought a new TV, and there's a lot of styrofoam in that
Yep.
packaging.
So we're having a special collection event on Saturday, January 7th. That's the first Saturday in January in the new year. On that day, bring in all your old electronics and your styrofoam. And it doesn't matter if you've been storing up styrofoam for 2 years. You can still bring it in. It doesn't matter if your electronics are new or old. Like, well, Lisa, you're probably too young to remember those really old, huge home entertainment centers.
Oh, no. I
with
had
those
one in my
huge
house.
TVs that
Oh,
are so
yeah.
heavy you can't pick it up.
The tube TVs? Or like
Yep.
the one that's in the actual cabinet?
In the actual
Yeah.
cabinet.
Yeah.
Even if you've got one of
That's
those.
now a curio cabinet or something.
I mean, I think there are probably plenty of people out there listening who are hearing this thinking, yeah, remember those old TVs that are cluttering up half the garage space?
Right.
We're sick and tired of trying to move around them. Well, call over a couple neighbors. Lift them up somehow onto the back of your pickup truck or
Yep.
get them in the back of your car. And on January 7th, between 10 and 2, show up at any of the 3 transfer stations. So Manzanita Transfer Stations operated by Cardam, Tillamook Transfer Stations operated by Averill Recycling, the Pacific City Transfer Station is operated by the county. Any of those 3 locations between 10 and 2, bring in those televisions, your computers, your monitors, your keyboards, your mice, your scanners, your printers, basically anything that's electronic like that. Bring it in. We'll figure out how to lift it out of your car. If you got
Nice.
it in there, bring it in. We'll
Yep.
lift it out of there, and we'll take it. It'll go into the e-waste collection program. All the proceeds from this event go to the senior safe committees.
That's awesome. Yeah, I saw that. Neoconi, Nestucca, and Tillamook.
Correct.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So, bring it in, drop it off. You're benefiting the Senior Safe Committee.
Yep.
At the same time, bring in your styrofoam. We're collecting that at all 3 locations. I haven't decided yet where we're going to have the densifier on that day.
Oh, sure.
But because we can only have it in one place at the one time.
You can't be in 3 places at one time? Come
Well,
on.
I tried to clone myself, but, that machine kind of broke. And we'll be recycling that.
Yes. Okay, there you go.
But, within a couple of days, we'll be at each site densifying whatever they collect and take care of that. And then we'll be having different collection events throughout. We're advertising on a quarterly basis now.
Yep,
so next week on Wednesday, in Wednesday's Headlight Herald, we'll have a 3-month calendar coming out that lists the different dates. One date I can tell you is that each day we have a hazardous waste collection event. We'll also be collecting styrofoam on that date. So we're coordinating with that because a lot of people are really used to the hazardous waste collection dates.
Right.
So tacking the styrofoam onto
Absolutely
it makes sense.
I'm going to take a quick break, and we are going to talk about Rosenberg's. Where do you go to find almost anything you need for home improvement? I'll tell you where, Rosenberg's. Rosenberg's has been your local connection for anything you need to build and finish your house to perfection. Carpet, cabinets, paint, electrical, plumbing, nuts and bolts, fencing, windows, doors, and so much more. All those items in one place, but that's only part of the story. What really makes Rosenberg's your stop for home improvement is their people. Their knowledgeable, friendly staff is there to help you through any project. Any question from what paint you should use to how to install a new shower valve, you can get the help you need to do it right the first time. Stop by Rosenberg's today to rediscover what you've known all along. It's better to shop local and work with great people that you can see every day. Build it, plumb it, wire it, paint it. Rosenberg Builder Supply, Tillamook. So we're here with David McCall from, why am I blanking? Solid
it's the
Waste?
Tillamook County Solid Waste Department.
Solid Waste Department, yeah. I don't know why I was going to say community waste. Blanking on that
Well,
for a
the
second.
community makes it.
Yeah, there you go. And you know what? I didn't write your name at the top of my paper here. That's why, because I knew who you were.
Yeah.
And we're talking about recycling. So we talked about styrofoam and electronic waste recycling, but you also have tree recycling, right?
Yeah. So anybody in the county, those 3 transfer stations, which I mentioned, Manzanita, Tillamook, and Pacific City, if you go online to our website or our Facebook page, you can find a coupon. And you print that coupon out, you can bring in your old Christmas tree. You've got to take off all the tinsel and the lights and stuff like that. So just the bare tree. Bring that in.
People aren't bringing their tree with lights on it, but do you get people that bring their tree with lights and decorations?
I mean, you think about it. Decorations, no, because they're usually something special.
Right.
But if the lights burn out, I think some people think, why should I take them off or throwing it away?
Yeah.
But the important thing really is to make sure there's no tinsel or anything like that, because these trees, we're collecting them, and they're being used in watershed restoration activities. So they're actually becoming part of the river.
That. Yeah.
So we don't want that plastic tinsel on there. For that.
I had a thought. I'm going to jump back to the styrofoam and e-waste. You were talking about the old stuff. This, I feel like, I don't know. This week is the week that I use to purge all my stuff. When I'm putting everything away, all the new stuff away, I go through my drawers and purge old things. So if you're doing that this week, be a great time to next Saturday. Yeah.
Yep,
a week from
Saturday.
tomorrow. Take all your stuff to a transfer station.
Yeah. And it's good that you bring that up because I think almost everybody, not only in this county, but in this world, has a drawer where they've been storing chargers.
Yes.
You got that phone which died on you 10 years ago.
Yep.
And you don't want to use that phone again. But the charger, rather than throwing it away, we hang on to those chargers and those cords.
Totally.
It might be good for something someday. Remember the old Walkman?
Yeah.
Which had a plug that nothing else would use. We've still got those chargers in some drawer somewhere. Feel free to open that drawer. This got probably 20 pounds worth of various cords and just bring it all in and drop it off.
And that's a good point to bring up. It's not just electronics. It's things like cords and cables and things of that nature.
Right.
Wires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your
I
keyboards,
totally have
mice.
One of those
old mice. If it broke and you don't want to use it, then why hang on to it?
Yeah. Good time to purge. Start the new year with less stuff. Yeah.
So.
What else do we want to talk about for recycling? And
Well, I want to talk about, you mentioned community. I want to mention the community recycling trailer that we got. The department went out and we purchased a trailer and a whole kit for it this last year. And we've got different events really throughout the county, all the way from Nesquin in the south to Nehalem in the north, where we're trying to reach out to these communities where they don't have a transfer station or recycling center right there and bring recycling opportunities a little closer to the people that are there.
Neat.
So we're doing that once a month in places, and I'll just list the places where we've got it, and you can find more information on our website or leave it here. But So we're at different times, once a month. We're in Nesquin, Beaver, Bay City, Garibaldi, Rockaway Beach, Nehalem, and Wheeler. So
wow, that's a big, expansive area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But bringing it in, because each of those towns, they don't have, or some of them have a recycled shack, but the shack only takes a limited amount of things.
Right.
So with the trailer, we can go in and say that you live in Bay City, Garibaldi, or Rockaway Beach, where there's a shack there. Well, the shack doesn't take cardboard. So when we bring the trailer in, you can bring your cardboard and drop it off there in spot. Same thing with like your aluminum cans or your plastic films or styrofoam. You can drop all those things off anytime the trailer's there.
Right.
And also we're going to be doing what we're calling a facelift for the recycle shacks come the new year, January, February. We're working with Neoconi's shop class, and we're actually going to be replacing the siding and going into a whole new color scheme on them.
Cool.
You may have noticed this year, starting in the summer, we introduced a color scheme. So wherever you go in the county, it doesn't matter if you're at Cardam or Pacific City or Tillamook, any of the places, or the shacks, anything that's related to paper is now blue signage. Anything that's related to glass is green signage. And you've got the same colors at every single
That's cool. Yeah, it makes it easy so you don't have to read the sign. You can just, that's right, that's paper.
Yeah, and we also switched to a bilingual signage with lots of pictures.
Oh, good.
Make it easier for people.
For sure. Yeah. And, if you're listening and you don't recycle, could we talk about why you should recycle? Maybe that's something you take as one of your New Year's goals.
Well, I can bring up lots of examples why it's good to recycle for the benefit of the environment. Things like recycling aluminum saves energy-wise. Recycling aluminum takes 92% less energy. We're talking basically electricity, but also water. So 92% less electricity to recycle aluminum than to make it from aluminum ore. If you recycle a ton of paper, that takes something like 2/3 less water in the process. Yeah. Plus, it eliminates the need to cut down trees.
Right.
The reality is, as time goes on, we like to think we're becoming paperless, but we're using more and more paper as we go. We print more and more. So those trees are most likely still going to get cut to make pulp, but we don't have to have even more and more. There's not going to be a shortage of it. Right. And it does save those 7 trees that are going on. We've got lots of examples like that, but what I'd like to bring up more is really a down-to-earth dollars and cents example. About 35% of what is in the average garbage can is biodegradable, so organic waste. About 50% of what's in a garbage can is recyclable material. So there's not much that can't be recycled or composted. Yeah. And recycling here in Tillamook County, dropping it off everywhere, is free. You can compost in your backyard as well.
Yep.
You may not want to do that, but you may want to do it. But if all you do is you take out the recyclable items from your trash and you drop them off for free, you only have half as much trash. Now, when you either have garbage service and you fill that can every week, you have to pay a fee to get that taken away.
Yep.
Now, imagine if you don't have to pay to have your can picked up and hauled away every week, but you go to every other week.
Yep.
I know people who only have their trash picked up once a month.
Because they're efficient with it.
Right. So imagine, let me just use an off-the-wall example. Say that it costs you $30 a month for your garbage bill.
Yep.
If you go to every other week, that fee goes down to about $15 or $16.
Right.
So you can save money. And if you save $15 every month, that translates into $180 a year. That's dollars and cents.
Yeah, absolutely.
And could you use an extra $180
Sure,
this year?
Who couldn't? Yeah. And it takes a little bit of time, but if you plan it out, we recycle. We lived in San Diego, and California is very much into recycling, and it was easy because we lived in condos, so they had like recycling bins, But we got used to we have a bucket or some type of container we put all of our aluminum and our glass in. And then we have one in our kitchen that we put all of our paper in. and we have a couple in there that we put our biodegradable stuff in. It goes out to the compost bin once a week. It takes some time. You got to set it up, but once it's set up, it's real easy.
Yeah. I mean, it also takes me some time every day to brush my teeth.
Sure. Yeah.
I wouldn't want to go out in public if I didn't brush my teeth. It takes me a little time to shave. Okay, not everybody shaves.
Right.
But, I mean, everything takes a little bit of time. It really takes more time to get yourself set up and get into the habit.
Right.
Once it becomes a habit, nobody thinks about the couple minutes a day it takes them to brush their teeth.
Oh, totally. I don't even think about, get the junk mail and the paper goes right into that recycle bin. I don't have to.
Exactly.
It's just
second nature.
You don't even think about it. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about the hospital. Would you like to significantly improve your capacity to learn, retain, and apply knowledge, set and achieve high goals, and increase motivation? You can optimize your brain with a 6-week program designed to maximize your intellectual and emotional intelligence. Optimize Your Brain will be held Tuesday, January 17th with a free introduction and registration session, then continue for 6 weeks until February 28th. Sessions are from 6:30 to 8:30 at the lower level of the Adventist Church. The Optimize Your Brain 6-week class will highlight how to improve and manage relationships, increase motivation, and improve creativity. Anyone who desires a great brain can benefit. Students can improve their GPA and study skills. Teachers may discover tools to increase character strengths in the classroom. Parents will learn what nutrients you and your child need to succeed. Professionals can gain tools to be a successful leader and understand the emotions of others. You will be able to improve your intellectual capacity and increase your emotional intelligence with this seminar. Sponsored by the Tillamook Regional Medical Center. To register, contact 815-2270. That sounds very interesting. I can't go to it, but it sounds interesting. I want to optimize my brain. Let's see. We're talking to David McCall from Tillamook County Solid Waste. You mentioned Facebook, and I pulled it up while we were talking here. Lots of good stuff on there. Yeah. And it's I don't know who runs it, but it's up. There's a lot of stuff posted all the time. Is that you?
Well, it's me and my solid waste outreach and outreach and education coordinator, Sue Owens. The two of us run that, and we try to put things up there a couple times a week and keep the current events going. I mean, one of the nice things, which is a challenge with this job, but one of the nice things about it, we've got lots of stuff going on. So it's very rare that we have to search the internet looking for a story or a post to actually put on there.
Right.
We can fill it with stuff that we have going on here in the county.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we were talking, I don't know if it was before or right at the beginning of the interview, but you have monthly hazardous waste?
It's almost every month. Okay. There are a couple months when we don't do it. We won't be doing one in January because we're doing the e-waste collection for that. We don't do one in April because that's when the Home and Garden Show is on.
Gotcha.
And conflict with that. And we don't do one in November because what we found is it's hunting season. And very few people came. So one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is this hazardous waste program costs the county about $70,000 to $75,000 a year. And a good chunk of that is paying for the experts that come down here and actually go through our stuff. When we unload when you come in with your car and the trunk is full of various bottles and cans of this and that, we unload it and we have to sort through it. And there are times when there are really unknown items. People come through and they say, I have no idea what's in that jug. I bought the house and it was there. Or, we're cleaning out my folks' place and these things were in the garage. It's 50 years old and it's in a milk jug, but we're sure it's not milk because it's got some weird foam on it. We turn that over to these specialists, and they actually go through with the different testing protocol and figure out what it is and how it needs to be treated. Them coming to town costs us about $2,000 every month. So what we did was we looked at the months that had the least participation, and we took those off the calendar. So we've got this nine times a year. And it's usually the first Saturday of the month. There are a couple of times, like Labor Day weekend, we go to the second weekend because of the holiday. And the holidays kind of throw a monkey wrench into it. But it's almost every month when we have that. And we just had our 5th anniversary for the hazardous waste facility a couple months ago. During the last 5 years, we have taken in almost 450,000 pounds of hazardous waste from the county.
That is amazing. Yeah.
When we look at a per capita basis, this is 3.5 times more than Portland Metro takes in per capita. And it's almost 4 times more than the Seattle area.
You would not think that at all. I would think that the people in the city would be more into recycling and environment and things like that. But wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing, and it's a really good thing. A lot of people cleaning out the garages in different areas, bring that in, making their homes safer. But it's a great program, and we're going to keep on doing it.
I'm looking at your from your Facebook page. There was a December event. Excuse me. And there's a picture that says, "What is household hazardous waste?" And I think it's a really great picture because it shows things that I probably wouldn't think of, like light bulbs. There's a CFL light bulb, a car battery, Raid, paint, some type of cleaner, Roundup. Are, I assume, like batteries, like AA, AAA batteries.
That's correct.
Which you should not be throwing into the garbage. If you are, you shouldn't be doing that. Save them up.
Also, aerosol cans.
Oh, sure.
Because that's a pressurized can.
Right.
And so even if it's empty, it still poses a hazard.
Yeah,
and a lot of cleaning chemicals, your lawn chemicals, people that have hot tubs or pools, those chemicals as well. Yeah,
chlorine and stuff like that. Yeah. Very cool. It's really great that we have something so well-rounded in the county to get rid of your waste.
And the fluorescent light tubes, you mentioned that surprising on there. We're taking in about as many fluorescent light tubes every year that if you laid them down end to end, you could go from the courthouse to the cheese factory.
Wow.
That's how many fluorescent light tubes are coming in.
Yeah.
And they actually get completely recycled. They get transported up to a place just south of Seattle where it goes into a machine and they actually crush them. The hazardous part of a fluorescent light tube is the mercury vapor inside. Right. So when you break it, that vapor escapes. So that's why if you have a broken bulb, it's not hazardous anymore. But you have to be really careful. The last thing you want to do is break those bulbs in your garbage can because you're standing right next to that and you're breathing in that mercury vapor.
Sure.
That's really, really dangerous, especially for little kids, but for adults as well. So, bring in those bulbs. Like I said, they get shipped to a place just south of Seattle where it goes into a machine where it crushes it and it sucks out that mercury vapor, and then the mercury in its vapor or its solidified form gets shipped off to a place in Pennsylvania where they actually refine it into mercury again. Because mercury is used in a lot of electric devices and things like that.
That is amazing.
The and the glass gets reused. That we have
now is just incredible.
Yeah. It's almost it's difficult to find something that you cannot recycle in any way. Some things might be tougher.
Right.
Recyclers aren't real fans of Apple because Apple uses more screws on their computers and laptops than any other company, and it takes a lot more work to tear them apart and recycle them.
Yeah. Cool. Is there anything else we want to cover? We're out of time.
Just for a second, I want to make a plug for this new book that's come out. A lot of people know Paul Hanneman, former state legislature, former county commissioner, lives in Cloverdale, or between Cloverdale and Pacific City there. And he just came out with a new book called The Inside Story, Oregon's Beach and Bottle Bills. What some people might not know about Paul Hanneman is that he was actually co-author on both the Oregon Beach Bill and the Oregon Bottle Bill. It's been 50 years now, and he's just came out with this book with his memories and his thoughts, and recognizing a lot of the people that have been involved not only in that process 50 years ago, but also things that have developed since then. He says in this book that basically that was the basis that put together today's recycling program here in Oregon.
Wow.
And even calls out things like Nestucca Valley Elementary School, where they have a bench where the kids can wait for the bus, and that bench is made out of recycled milk jugs.
That's awesome.
Things like that he brings in. So it's not only the state legislature and the dryness of legislation, but he brings in some local color and recognition.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So take a look at the library, or I think you can go on Amazon and find it now. If not, get a hold of Mr. Hanneman and
that's really neat. Very cool. Let's see. Don't forget senior meals, 11:30 at St. Mary's by the Sea in Rockaway Beach every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Also noon every weekday at the Kayawanda Community Center in Pacific City, as well as the Tillamook Senior Center at 4th and Stillwell. Cost is $3 for seniors and $6.75 for everyone else. Tillaskate is having open skate this week. Today is the last day. You can use their skates for $5 or bring your own for $4. I believe that's from 1 to 4 each day. Saturday at 3, or tomorrow at 3, a mile-long race is happening down 3rd Street. You can enter at raceentry.com or register on Saturday by Goodspeed Park. You have to register by 2:45 p.m. It's sponsored by the Tillamook Track Club and Tillamook Distance Project. Tomorrow, the Rotary is hosting their New Year's Eve dinner and comedy show at the Old Mill Marina in Garibaldi starting at 8 o'clock. You can get your tickets at Yo Time in downtown Tillamook. Tomorrow night, the library is having a family-friendly, fun, no-alcohol evening from 6 to 9. You can dance in the East Coast New Year with a concert by Midnight Gumbo. There'll be free popcorn and soft drinks guaranteed to get your groove on. Tomorrow and Sunday is free fishing weekend, and then Sunday, it's the New Year. So that means it's time for the polar plunge. 11 o'clock at north end of Manzanita Beach. It's a fun way to start the new year. And if you don't want to jump in the freezing ocean, you can go take a first day hike starting at the Short Sands Beach Trailhead at 9 o'clock. Dress in layers, wear good shoes, and bring water. And then Tuesday, because it's the new year, at 11:30, the swearing-in ceremony for newly elected officials from the May primary and November general election will be held in Circuit Court Room 102 at the courthouse. Thanks, David, for coming in this morning.
Hey, thank you all, and have a happy new year.
Yeah, and Tuesday, I forgot to say, Tuesday we'll have Bill Bartline on. It's fresh from his swearing-in ceremony, I believe. Yes, and happy new year to all of you. Thanks for listening.